and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, Senate calls for stronger measures to end killings by bandits in Zamfara as some lawmakers demand the declaration of emergency in the troubled state. Kidnapped Director of Lagos State Fire Service Razaki Musbao and 6 others regained their freedom after over 48 hours with their abductors. Police announced arrest of 2 suspects. Supreme Court strikes appeal challenging the dissolution of the Kwara State Executive Committee by the APC National Chairman Adams Oshomole. And Benjamin Netanyahu wins record 5th term as Prime Minister of Israel after a close-fought general election.
On business news tonight, International Monetary Fund's Monetary and Capital Markets Chief says current global market conditions still favorable for Nigeria's foreign borrowings.
On sports news tonight, Barcelona win at Old Trafford, while Juventus enjoy an away draw in the quarter-final of the first leg of the UEFA Champions League.
And from Abuja, court strikes out Buhari campaign organization libel suit filed by the president against PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, says group is not known to law.
The security situation and the tension in the northwestern region of the country can only get better as the days go by, and that's because the situation appears to be getting all the needed attention and strategies from stakeholders. Now, more than ever before, federal lawmakers in the Senate are demanding an end to the killings, particularly in Zamfara State. The Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, is calling for a declaration of state of emergency in Zamfara State, while the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, wants the country to revisit the matter of state policing. Our correspondent, Linda Akigbe, reports.
Protesters at the weekend in Abuja venting their dissatisfaction with the insecurity in Zamfara State and demanding action from the government to stop the killings in the state. Zamfara has been a hotbed of killings and deteriorating insecurity, causing many victims to flee their communities for safety. On several occasions, this federal lawmaker from Zamfara State has warned of the worsening insecurity in the state. He's again asking the federal government and the Senate to intervene.
Urge the National Assembly to make a provision of a modest sum of 10 billion naira in the 2019 appropriation as intervention fund to cater for the IDPs and other persons affected by the activities of these armed bandits in Zamfara State.
Cultural, religious and...
The Senate President and Deputy Senate President want stronger measures to address the security crisis in Zamfara State.
I believe that the time is ripe in Zamfara today for us to consider a state of emergency there.
More importantly is that we must still go back to what a lot of us are advocating here, that there is need for us to have state or community police. It's the way forward. Otherwise, we'll continue to run into this problem.
Other lawmakers suggest possible solutions to this problem.
The president of this country is from the north. The president of the Senate is from the north. The Speaker House of Reps is from the north. Inspector General, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, DGSSS, NIA, all that. In fact, Zamfara, Defense Minister is from Zamfara. Yet you are not able to resolve these issues.
I dare to tell this nation today that this is the problem. This constitution can never give us progress. This constitution can never give us peace.
On April 7, the federal government announced the suspension of all mining activities in Zamfara State as it launched an operation to flush out bandits attacking residents of the state. While the acting Inspector General of Police explains that there is a link between the activities of armed bandits and illicit miners and assures that the police is flushing out the bandits, residents of Zamfara State are still living in fear. Linda Akibi, Channels Television News.
While the lawmakers chart a new course for the security crisis in Zamfara State, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mr. Muhammad Adamu, has been busy tracking the armed bandits causing havoc in the northwestern states of the country. He arrived in Katsina State today in continuation of his crusade against kidnapping and banditry. The police chief says his visit is a response to the instructions given by President Muhammadu Buhari to ensure that bandits and kidnappers operating in the northwest are cleared through whatever means.
It's the turn of Katsina State to receive the Inspector General of Police, who is here at the government house to pass the message of the campaign, which is to restore law and order in the troubled areas in the northwest.
Mr. President has given us instruction to make sure that we clear these bandits and kidnappers through whatever means.
The IGP also harps on the importance of information as it calls for citizen support in battling the scourge.
For us to be able to do the job perfectly, we needed the cooperation of the people of Katsina State. By that I mean law enforcement agencies will not be able to do it alone. The criminals sometimes mingle with members of the community, and it is the members of the community that can identify them and inform the law enforcement agents to act.
The plan is lauded by the Deputy Governor, who gives an assurance that the state will not be found wanting when it comes to lending support.
You ask for assurance from us, we are giving it to you. We will do whatever it takes to cooperate with you, to give good intelligence, because already you have started to meet with our chairman of local governments.
The police chief also visits members of the force at the Divisional Police Headquarters in Basari, a local government area under heavy security strain, owing to attacks from bandits. The addition of 9 vehicles to boost the activities of the police in the community is well received. Hopefully, the upbeat mood shown by the officers will be translated into victory.
Turn our attention to the northeast, where an appeal for food and shelter is being made by 14,000 people who were evacuated from Jakana village of Konduga local government area of Borno State to Maiduguri. The people were moved out of their homes by the military because of the ongoing clearance operations around Jakana and Auno villages. Military operations have become intense in recent times around the Lake Chad region and other parts of the northeast, where insurgents are believed to be hibernating.
This is the Bakassi IDP camp in Maiduguri. Its number has swollen following the admission of new entrants, men, women and children from Jakana village. Seeing the overwhelming condition of the camp upon arrival, many had opted to leave for town to stay with relatives in the host community.
They told us we could go and stay in town, or we can stay here if we want. That was why we went to our relatives and spent the night. But in town, there's no place to stay. We suffered. In one person's house, up to 40 of us slept. How possible is it for a poor man to host 40 people? It is not possible. That is why we are back.
Since arrival, it's been the survival of the fittest as everyone jostles for a portion from the little provision. Reportedly, neither the emergency aid workers nor the government officials were prepared for this fresh humanitarian crisis.
Feeding about 14,000 people is not easy. Even water, pure water. Now, I think about 5 lorries have come in here. And it is not easy, which has cost me over 150,000 for pure water alone.
The Nigerian military's decision to evacuate the villagers was to conduct clearance operation around Jakana unhindered and also to forestall any incident of having collateral damage.
It's a military calling that if you want to conduct an operation as it was, you will have to take necessary steps to ensure the safety of the law-abiding citizens. And part of ensuring their safety, it is to get them out of the place.
That decision isn't sitting well with the villagers and the precarious situation it has thrown them into. They are also absolving themselves of any wrongdoing, as may have been suggested by intelligence. The army says the operation is expected to last for a few days, after which they can return to their villages. While that subsists, this temporal new set of displaced persons can only wait and trust the military to keep to their side of the deal.
Let's take a look at the evacuation exercise and the humanitarian fallout. I'm being joined live from Abuja by the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, Mr. Mustafa Mehaja. Thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10. Now, the visuals...
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, the visuals coming out of that camp, we can say, are not very encouraging. Some say it appears that the emergency workers and perhaps the government officials were not prepared for this kind of evacuation. What's the position on logistics tonight?
Well, I want to make one thing very clear. Jakana is one of the villages that NEMA provides food items every month. So now when the operations or whatever reason they are moved to Bakassi, Bakassi is also one of the camps we give food every month. So when they move, the stock of the food we have or food items we have for both Bakassi and Jakana is available. So it's not a problem. In fact, all the stocks are in our warehouse in Maiduguri. As against taking it to Jakana, which is a village outskirts of Maiduguri, obviously it's even easier to take it to Bakassi. So the question is that we are not prepared does not arise because the logistics are there, the food items are there. We only need to redirect them. Instead of taking them to Jakana, we take them to a place that is even closer, that is Bakassi camp.
Yeah, so but you said the logistics are there. Yes, just to say that the logistics are there, that's what you're saying, but the visuals are saying something different, with them having a difficult time, even concerning materials to sleep with. So perhaps do you think is the logistics moving them about that's the challenge? We
are talking about food first. Of course, other items like mattresses, where to sleep, that is another thing. But in humanitarian response, the immediate need of the people is what they will eat. Then follows is the non-food items, which we also surprised. The operation just happened day before yesterday, and then they are now there. We will certainly provide the non-food items also.
Yes, which brings me to my next question. As you say, the operation just happened. I'm looking at the amount of people that are being moved and the humanitarian fallout of what is happening. Could it have been planned better, should we say?
I think there is no much difficulty in taking the food to the Bakassi camp, because before now we have to take it. We have to take the food from our warehouse in Maiduguri to Jakana. Jakana is some kilometers away from Maiduguri, but this is just by the door of our warehouse. It's not too far, so it's not a big deal. The issue of humanitarian response, there are challenges, of course, but in this situation, one cannot say that there is fallout in the humanitarian response. As it is being described, I think it's not that bad.
Okay. Looking at, from your experience with the Northeast as well, what would you say is the humanitarian fallout? Are you worried about the situation that you see now?
Well, the situation, not only because of Jakana, is something that is worrisome, because humanitarian crisis is a complex of that. I mean, a complex one, as the case of Borno State. It's not a simple thing that one could say. But the position NEMA is today is doing all they could and is providing as much as that is required for the people that is not done in the past.
And sorry to go back to the Jakana issue, do you see them moving back after the operation has ended? Because there's a lot of moving around for 14,000 people to be moving from one place to the other. And what are the preparations and the logistics if they have to move back again, seeing that moving there and being sorted out is an issue right now?
Well, the fact is, when the operation is over, when the security situation is improved, I am sure the government is ever willing to take them back to their community. So, but to say when, that it is difficult to say at this moment. After all, what brought them out of Jakana now has just happened. And please take note, so far what we have profiled is 2,293. Of course, profiling of those that were moved from Jakana is still going on. But the reality is, in Bakassi camp, we have been feeding 40,000 people. So just addition of 2,000, 3,000, I think would not be a big challenge.
All right, Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, Mustafa Mehaja, thanks a lot for sharing that with us on the news at 10 tonight. And in part 2, after the break, it's jubilation at the Lagos State Fire Service as the agency's boss, kidnapped last week, regains freedom. That's in a moment. Do join us again.